Hello and welcome back to Everyday English. I'm your host, Benji.
And I'm Luna. We are so glad you could join us for our third episode.
We are. It's been great hearing from some of you after our last couple of episodes. In our last episode, we talked all about our hobbies.
That was a fun one. We learned that Benji is an outdoorsy guy who loves hiking and photography and is also learning guitar.
Right, and we found out that Luna is an amazing baker and she loves to relax with a good mystery novel.
That's me. So today we are moving on from what we do for fun to what we do for, well, not always for fun. We're talking about work life.
That's right. It's the thing most of us spend a lot of our time doing. It can be a big part of our identity. So, Luna, are you ready to get into it?
I am. Why don't you start, Benji? Tell everyone what you do for a living.
All right. So, I am a freelance graphic designer.
Okay, so for listeners who might not know, what does a graphic designer do?
Good question. Basically, I create visual things for companies and individuals. That could be anything from a logo for a new business to the layout of a website or even posters and social media images.
So you're very creative and artistic.
That's the idea. I spend most of my day on a computer, using special software to bring ideas to life. And because I'm freelance, it means I work for myself. I don't have one boss, I have many different clients.
That sounds really interesting. What's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part is definitely the creative problem solving. A client will come to me with an idea, and it's my job to figure out how to make it look good and communicate their message effectively. Seeing a finished design that both the client and I are proud of is super satisfying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I love the flexibility. I work from home, so I can mostly set my own schedule. If I want to take a long break in the middle of the day to go for a walk, I can.
That freedom sounds amazing. But what about the downsides? What do you dislike about it?
Well, the freelance part can be tough. Sometimes work is very busy and sometimes it's very slow. That lack of a steady, predictable paycheck can be stressful.
Right, the uncertainty.
Exactly. And also, you have to be your own boss, which means you're also the accountant, the salesperson, the marketing department, all the business stuff that isn't very creative.
That makes sense. You have to wear a lot of different hats. My job is very different from yours. I am an elementary school teacher.
Wow, a teacher. That is a really important job. What grade do you teach?
I teach second grade, so my students are usually 7 or 8 years old.
That must be a lot of energy in one room.
So much energy. But that's also one of the best parts. Their excitement is contagious. My favorite thing about my job is seeing that light bulb moment.
What's that?
It's when a student has been struggling to understand something, like a new math concept, and then suddenly they get it. Their face just lights up. It's the most rewarding feeling in the world.
That sounds amazing, knowing you made that difference.
It really is. I also love how creative I get to be with planning lessons and activities to make learning fun. So in that way, our jobs are a little similar.
That's true, but I bet your job has some unique challenges. What are the tough parts?
Definitely. It can be incredibly exhausting. You're on all day long. You have to be patient, energetic, and focused for hours. And there's a lot of work that people don't see.
Like what?
Lesson planning, grading papers, communicating with parents, meetings. The school day ends around 3 p.m., but my workday often goes much later than that. And of course, sometimes dealing with classroom behavior can be very challenging.
I can only imagine. Let's talk about a typical day. My workday is pretty quiet. I get up, make coffee, and I'm usually at my computer by 9. I'll check my emails, make a to-do list for the day, and then dive into my biggest project.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a virtual meeting with a client. I'll take a lunch break. In the afternoon, I might work on smaller tasks. The day is very self-directed, and some days are much busier than others. How about your day? It sounds much more structured.
Oh, it is. There's a bell that tells us when to do everything. I have to be at school by 7:30 a.m. to prepare for the day. The students arrive around 8:30.
That's early.
It is. The morning is usually focused on reading and math. Then we have lunch and recess, which is a nice break for everyone. The afternoon might be science or social studies and art or music. Then I help them pack up and get on the bus around 3. After that, I usually stay for another hour or two to get things ready for the next day.
Our work environments are polar opposites. Mine is total silence, and yours is constant noise and activity.
Exactly. Sometimes I think working in total silence from home would be amazing, but I think I might get lonely. Do you ever feel isolated working by yourself?
Sometimes, yes. I miss the simple social part of a traditional job, like chatting with coworkers by the coffee machine. You have to make an extra effort to see people when you work from home.
That makes sense, and I bet sometimes you wish you had some quiet, while I wish I had a coworker to talk to about adult things.
The grass is always greener, right? This is kind of a fun question. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Oh, that's easy. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I have always loved animals, and I wanted to help them.
A vet. What changed?
I realized that being a vet also means dealing with sick and injured animals, and that would be too sad for me. I think being a teacher has a similar helping feeling, though. What about you?
I wanted to be an animator for Disney movies. I was always drawing and making up stories. So graphic design isn't too far off, actually. It's still drawing and telling stories, just in a different way.
That's really cool. So you stayed on a creative path. Do you think there's such a thing as a dream job?
That's a deep question. I used to think so. But now I think every job, even a dream job, has parts you don't like.
I completely agree. Even being a rock star probably involves boring meetings and paperwork.
Exactly. I think a good job is one where you enjoy the good parts more than you dislike the bad parts. And hopefully it gives you enough time and money to enjoy the rest of your life too.
That's a perfect way to put it. The work-life balance. It's so important. Speaking of work-life balance, how do you manage it as a freelancer? It seems like it would be hard to leave work when your office is in your home.
It's one of the biggest challenges. For the first couple of years, I was terrible at it. I'd find myself answering emails at 10 o'clock at night. But now I have a strict rule. At 6 p.m., I close my laptop and I'm done for the day. I also make sure my workspace is in a separate room so I can physically close the door on my work.
That's a great strategy. I have to do something similar. When I get home from school, I give myself 1 hour to decompress. I'll listen to music or read a book, anything that isn't school related. If I don't do that, my brain just stays in teacher mode all evening.
That makes sense. You need a buffer between your work self and your home self. This reminds me, what was your very first job? Not your first teaching job, but the first job you ever had.
Oh, wow. My first job? I was 16 and I worked at a local ice cream shop.
No way. That's a classic first job. Was it fun?
It was. It was also a lot harder than I expected. I learned how to deal with long lines of impatient customers, how to handle money, and most importantly, how to make the perfect ice cream cone. I also learned that I can't be trusted around a giant tub of cookie dough ice cream. What about you?
My first job was working at a movie theater.
Oh, that's a good one. Did you get to watch free movies?
That was the best perk. I saw every movie that came out that summer. My job was mostly selling popcorn and cleaning the theaters after the show. Let me tell you, people leave a huge mess in a dark theater. It taught me a lot about customer service, and honestly, it taught me to always clean up after myself at the movies.
It's funny how those early jobs teach you such practical lessons. Have you ever had a really embarrassing or funny moment at your design job?
Oh, for sure. I once had a big video call with a new importing client. I was trying to be super professional. Halfway through the call, my cat jumped up onto my desk, walked right in front of the camera, and sat down with its back to the screen. The client just went silent.
Oh no, what did you do?
I just had to laugh and say, well, I'd like you to meet my supervisor. Thankfully, the client had a cat too and thought it was hilarious. It actually broke the ice. What about you? Funny classroom story?
There are so many. Last year, we were learning about different animal sounds. I asked the class, what sound does a sheep make? And one little boy with a very serious face shouted, honk.
A sheep says honk?
The whole class, including me, just burst out laughing. We couldn't stop. It was one of those purely joyful, silly moments. I will never forget the honking sheep.
That's amazing. It's those little moments that make it worthwhile. We've talked about what we do, but how has technology changed your job since you started? For me, it's everything. The software I use is constantly updating with new features. The rise of AI is also a huge topic in my field right now.
It's changed teaching so much too. When I started, we barely used computers in the classroom. Now we have smartboards, tablets for the students, and so many online learning resources. It's great, but it also means there's a lot of new technology to learn all the time.
It's a constant learning process. Okay, last question. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who wants to become a teacher?
I would say you have to have a genuine passion for it. It's not a job you can do just for the paycheck. You have to love learning and love helping kids, and you have to have a lot of patience. A lot of patience. What about for an aspiring graphic designer?
My advice would be to never stop being curious. Look at designs everywhere, on websites and magazines, on posters. Figure out why you like them or why you don't, and build a strong portfolio. Your portfolio is more important than anything else. It shows people what you can do. That's great advice for both fields. It really is. Well, it sounds like we both have jobs with really great rewarding moments and some definite challenges.
I think that's true for most jobs. This was a really interesting conversation. I feel like I understand your world a lot better now.
Same here, and I think that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you so much to everyone for listening to us chat about our work lives.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned a few new words related to jobs and careers.
We hope you'll join us again for our next episode. We're going to get a little more personal and talk about our families.
That's right. We'll be talking about our parents, siblings, and maybe some funny family stories. It should be a great conversation.
It should be. Until then, have a fantastic week.
And take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.